We're always taught that the brain is the body's big boss, the ultimate command center. But what if I told you there's this other powerhouse in your chest, an organ that beats with, well, a stunning mind of its own? Today, we are diving deep into the absolutely incredible, self-sufficient world of your heart. Just think about that for a second. Over 100,000 times every single day, while you're working, sleeping, or just listening to this right now, your heart is just beating with this perfect rhythm, all on its own. So how on earth does it pull that off without a single go signal from the brain? That's the amazing mystery we're going to solve right now. So to get to the bottom of this, we've got to go right to the source. Let's forget the brain for a minute, because it turns out the heart has its very own command center, a tiny spot where the spark of life is generated for every single beat. And here it is, the sinus node, or SA node for short. This little cluster of cells is basically the heart's natural built-in pacemaker. It doesn't wait for an order, it just creates its own electrical spark, automatically somewhere between 60 and 100 times a minute. It is literally the starting gun for every single beat your heart makes. Okay, so we've got the spark, but a tiny spark in one corner isn't going to do much, right? It needs to get the entire heart muscle to fire all at once. So how does that single electrical pulse coordinate a massive synchronized contraction? Well, let's follow the signal down the heart's own electrical superhighway. And this is where the design gets truly brilliant. So the signal fires from that SA node and immediately hits something called the AV node. Now think of this like a perfectly timed traffic light. It intentionally holds the signal for just a fraction of a second, a really crucial pause. Why? This gives the top chambers, the atria, just enough time to finish squeezing all their blood down into the bottom chambers. Only then does the light turn green, sending that signal racing down these super fast Purkinje fibers to trigger that powerful unified squeeze from the ventricles. It's an absolute masterpiece of timing. But how do all those millions of individual muscle cells get the message at the exact same time? Well, they're connected by these incredible things called intercalated discs. The best way to think of them is like cellular handshakes, passing that electrical signal instantly from one cell to the very next. And this allows the entire muscle wall to contract as one enormous, coordinated unit, a syncytium. It's the ultimate act of teamwork happening inside your chest right now. So this entire electrical storm happening inside your chest is actually so powerful that we can detect it from the surface of your skin. It's amazing. So how do we take those tiny little signals and translate them into the living story of your heartbeat? We do it with an ECG, which basically gives us a visual signature for each part of that electrical journey we just talked about. See that first little bump, the P wave? Yep, that's the signal spreading across the atria, telling them to contract. Then you get that big, dramatic spike, the QRS complex. That's the main event, the powerful signal firing through the ventricles, telling them to give that big squeeze. And that final, gentler T wave, that's the whole system electrically resetting, getting ready to do it all over again in less than a second. Okay, so we've seen the electrical command, we've followed the signal path. Now, let's connect all of that to what the heart is actually doing, acting as the most efficient and reliable pump you could ever imagine. The entire cardiac cycle really just boils down to these two simple phases. First, you have diastole. That's the relaxation phase, the fill, when the chambers just open up and passively fill with blood. And then, boom, you get systole, the squeeze, when the muscle contracts powerfully to eject that blood out to the rest of the body. Fill, squeeze, over and over, 100,000 times a day. And here's a little detail that just reveals the raw power of that squeeze. So before the exit valves even open, the ventricles start contracting around the blood that's trapped inside. It's called isovolumic contraction. To picture it, think of squeezing a plastic water bottle with the cap still on. You're building up immense pressure inside so that when those valves finally burst open, the blood doesn't just flow out, it's launched with maximum force. So, the heart is this incredible, self-sufficient machine, but it doesn't live in a vacuum, right? It's constantly listening to what the body needs and adjusting its output on the fly. So how does the rest of the body talk back to the heart? Well, the body has this amazing two-part rapid response team. First up, you've got neural control. There are these tiny pressure sensors in your arteries called baroreceptors, and they act like living barometers. If they sense your blood pressure is dropping, they instantly send an SOS to your nervous system, which says, hey, speed up the heart. At the same time, a chemical response can kick in, with hormones like angiotensin II quickly constricting your arteries to help bring that pressure right back up where it needs to be. All this complex regulation is just incredible. But the most beautiful part of the heart's design? It might just be the simplest. It all comes down to a single, elegant law that lets the heart regulate itself with every single beat, no questions asked.
It's called the Frank-Starling law. Just let that sink in for a moment. It's so simple, but it's so profound. The heart doesn't need to be told how much blood it needs to pump. It just inherently knows.
And here's how it works. It's genius. When more blood returns to the heart, say when you're exercising, it literally stretches the heart muscle fibers farther. Think about pulling back a rubber band. The more you stretch it, the more forcefully it's going to snap back, right? It's the exact same principle. So more blood coming in automatically creates a stronger squeeze going out. It's a perfect, built-in feedback loop. No instructions needed.
So when you put it all together, the story of your heart is just incredible. It has its own pacemaker, so it generates its own spark. It uses this perfectly precise electrical circuit to create a powerful, unified squeeze. And maybe most elegantly of all, it uses a simple law of physics to perfectly match its power to your body's demands, beat by single beat. It is a true masterpiece of autonomous engineering. And it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If your heart has this level of innate intelligence just running perfectly without a single conscious thought from you, what other incredible autopilot systems are humming away inside of you right now that you've never even noticed?